Rev up your engines!
All right, now here's something that I can't help but laugh at. There are hundreds of brand new electric vehicles. There's a little picture of it here. Three-wheeled electric cars, they're all being crushed, hundreds of them. This was called Electromechanica. It was an EV company. It was a solo EV. One person could ride in it. They're all in an Arizona junkyard just waiting to be destroyed. Now, why are they throwing them all away? Well, it turns out that they were selling these things for $18,000. 10 feet long, 4 feet wide, electric motor with 82 horsepower, and they claim it could go 100 miles. But they kept dying going down the road. They said that it was a motor controller or an inverter problem. Not surprising for these electric car companies. The company goes bankrupt, another company buys it, and then they don't do anything with it. And they decide, well, we'll just cake them all and throw them in a junkyard in Arizona where they're waiting to be crushed. So they had to recall all 400 of them that they built, buying back the ones that they did sell, throwing them in the desert, and now they're just sitting there waiting to be crushed. Now, this other company, Axos, which makes electric commercial trucks, I've never heard of them, but who knows with all that stuff, they asked them, why are you doing this? And they said, following the recall, buyback, and Electromechanica cessation of sales, the vehicles were all disposed of. They don't want to have to deal with the crap of, hey, what if something else is wrong? They'd have to fix them. And now they're a few years old. So they're just sitting in the desert waiting to be crushed. Yet another failed electric car company. Well, if you think you ever got ripped off at a dealer, Gary Ormerick sent me an email that's going to make all of us furious. He says, Scotty, you'll enjoy this. My son took our 2009 Honda Pilot to the Honda dealer in Seattle for an estimate on a lack of AC, a squealing belt, and a check engine light is on. The service manager told him that they charge for estimates. And the total for all these estimates would be $660. $660 just for the estimate, not to fix anything. I left. Luckily, a friend referred me to a reputable local mechanic who fixed all three issues for $50 more than Honda wanted just to get an estimate to work on the car. Maybe the owner of the Honda dealership was short on cash because he needed to pay for his luxury box at the Seahawks games. I mean, I knew things were bad in the West. Could you imagine? Well, there's three things wrong with your car. We have to analyze all three, so that's going to be $660. We're not fixing anything, but we'll tell you what we think is wrong for $660. Shame on you Honda dealers. It's just insane that they think they can get away with stuff like that. Don't allow them to, like him. He said, no. It's not like he said, give me an estimate. He said, well, we're going to charge you. He said, well, buy. I'm not paying that just for an estimate. Right? Things have gotten that bad. They'll do anything at these dealerships. Rob, steal, whatever, borrow to make money, and you're the one who's going to end up paying for it if you go to these people. Now, if you're buying a used car, here's a warning. Check stuff, at least the basic stuff, VIN number, whatever, on the paperwork you're getting on the vehicle, because this poor guy, he bought a new, to him, it was a used Dodge truck, from Carvana. He had it for a whole year, and then he comes home, and then there's the police. They're towing it away. He says, what's up? He says, that vehicle was stolen. We're taking it away. And he says, wait a second. I had a Carfax on the vehicle. It went through titling. I had my tag work. The police said they used a different VIN and title. Didn't match the truck's legitimate VIN and title. So he didn't believe it. So he goes and he looks, and sure enough, you could see where the VIN number had been scratched and changed. The VIN number on the door didn't match the one that was on the frame of the car itself. So, hey, if you're buying something used, always, you got to see the title first. Make sure the person actually owns it. Get their driver's license to match it up. Social security number, right? If you're buying a car and they won't let you see the driver's license, don't buy it from them. It could be a fake deal. Might be a stolen car. Could be all kinds of things. In this case, it was a stolen car. And he bought it from Carvana. So the Carvana guys are the ones that are ultimately responsible. Geesh, I mean, they sold him a vehicle. They didn't even look at the car to make sure the numbers match. These places, they don't check anything. They get cars in, they sell them as fast as they can. They know no history of it. They don't know anything. They just know, well, we bought it for $12,000 and we sold it for $18,000, so we made a profit. That's all they care. They go in and out so fast. So if you're going to buy a used car, make sure the serial number by the window is the same as the one on the door. Make sure that the numbers match. Then make sure that's the same exact number that's on the title that you're getting. A lot of times, we don't know the title. Well, somewhere somebody's got a picture of the title. It's registered. You need that so you can see if the VIN number matches. Because if it doesn't, Hey, ultimately, he's not responsible because he did what he was supposed to do. It was the Carvana that screwed up. They sold him a hot car, and they didn't even look through the stuff. And the people who work at those places, they don't care. They don't pay him all that much money. So they're just kind of floating around. It comes and it goes. They don't know the history of them. In this case, they didn't even know if the car was stolen. The numbers on the frame and on the door didn't even match. It went through when they sold to a guy. It was a whole year later that he got it taken away from him. Well, I recently got an email. And a guy says, my gripe is pumping gas and pushing the button for a receipt and there's no paper. I have to go in the store and stand in line just to get a receipt. It bums me out. Well, that's only the tip of the iceberg as far as I'm concerned, because I had an even more disgusting experience the other day at a gas station in Clarksville, Tennessee here. It's called MAPCO. First I go in and there's nobody at the end pump. So I go to the end pump, and all I'm doing is putting 2 gallons of gas in a gas can so I can mow the lawn. First one I go to, it's got a big XX on the screen. Well, that's got to be broken. So I go to the next one. I put my credit card in, sit there for 5 minutes. It just won't read it. It won't go through. So then I walk to the other island and put my credit card in, and it finally works. The auto shut-off didn't work right, so gasoline spilled on the ground a little bit. So I'm like, I don't want to put the smelly gas can in my wife's Lexus trunk to drive back to fill up the lawnmower so it won't stink. Where are the paper towels? So I look. Not only are there no paper towels, the containers that are supposed to have windshield washing liquid and squeegees, there's no liquid in it, and there's no squeegees either. And then, of course, to add insult to injury, I went at my receipt, I pushed the button, and it didn't do anything. It didn't even say go inside for receipt. The problem is they don't pay anything at these gas stations, the convenience stores. They don't do any maintenance whatsoever. You've got to stock the stuff, right? They're not stocking it. They don't want to spend any money. They don't want to buy paper towels. They don't want to get squeegees. They don't want to fill the things up with cleaner. Now, I mean, most of them, they don't even use cleaner anymore. It's just a bucket with water in it. But at least it's water and there's a squeegee, right? In this case, there was nothing. And it had 6 islands, and I looked at them all. Not a single one had a paper towel, had a squeegee. They hire the cheapest people they can, the worst managers, and there you are. Nothing practically works at all. Getting the receipt, in my case, would be the least of my worries. It's a credit card. It gets on a computer. I can see it on the phone, so that's no problem at all. But the problem is they just don't take care of these places anymore. My grandfather would be rolling in his grave. We used to wash people's windows even if they bought 50 cents of gasoline. Mind you, back in those days, gas was only 30 cents a gallon, so that was still almost a couple gallons if they're in a motorcycle or something. The problem is these convenience stores, a lot of them just don't care. Now, the weird thing is when we drove from Rhode Island to Tennessee this time, we always stop in Pennsylvania, and there's beautiful stations there. The people are friendly. They talk to you. Actual windshield washer cleaner in clean containers. Blue paper towels, my favorite. They had everything. So some people are still doing a good job, but a lot of them, they're just crapshoots these days. They don't take any maintenance of them at all. Well, Germany's trying a new type of fuel. They're saying, forget hydrogen. We're going to use methanol. Now, they're talking about using methanol in big ships. The advantage is they don't have to change the engines. They can use it in the engines that they already have. They can use methanol part of the time, diesel part of the time. Like a flex fuel car. It sounds like a pretty good idea because if you think about hydrogen in a ship, hydrogen is a gas. It takes a lot of hydrogen to push a big old ship. And let me tell you, where are they going to store all that hydrogen under high pressure? It would take up a lot of space. Interesting enough, you can make methanol from hydrogen if you want. Now, with methanol, these giant ship engines run 95% cleaner, they pollute a lot less, and since they're like a flex fuel car, you can use one or the other when there isn't any around. Let's face it, how many methanol ports are there? Probably not that many. So they might start, say, in Germany and use methanol, and then go someplace else. There's no methanol, they got to use something, like the problem with electric cars. If there's no place to charge the car, what are you going to do? Well, if there's no place for methanol, these things can also use conventional diesel. So, pretty interesting idea. Because really, if you think about it, hydrogen is not a good fuel for big ships. They're too heavy. They require too much energy. The tremendous amount of fuel that those ships use. For example, a big container ship uses 225 tons of fuel a day. That is a lot of fuel. 225 tons. That's 80,000 gallons. That is a tremendous amount of fuel. And a hydrogen gas, baby, it is not going to fuel these babies. So why not do what the Germans are thinking about? Hey, make engines that can run on methanol. Methanol, it's not the ethanol we use in cars. E85 is 85% ethanol, 15% gasoline that you can buy. Methanol is wood alcohol, what we call wood alcohol. It's a little bit different. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.